So now that we're over at the helm, just wanted to give you a quick starting procedure for this boat. So you grab your keys, you've got your physical key, so that's going to need to go into this slot right here. And then this is going to need to go underneath here. So you just kind of slide that in, you'll hear it click. Theoretically, you're supposed to have this lanyard on you when you're underway in the boat, so that way if you were to fall off, it'll kill the boat. You probably had one on the boat that you previously had, but that's what that's for. But to start the boat, you turn your key. You can kind of hear everything fire up. Next thing, before you fire the engines, is going to make sure to put the engines down. So you can see that they're trimmed up right now. Hit this button down. It's a 2-speed trim, so they go faster, then they slow down just like that. And then when they're all the way down, you can kind of hear them make a slightly different noise and they stop moving. So now that the engines are down, I like to allow the engine oil to level out. So since they've been trimmed up, all the engine oil has been, not level in the engine. So I like to let them sit there for a second, let the engine oil level out. Does it help? I don't know. Somebody told me a long time ago to do that, so I always do. You can also fire up your Garmin screen. So you've got everything ready to go. So you just hit that Garmin screen one time. You can see that it's firing up right now. And there we go. Click I agree. And there we go. Got the Garmin screen on. Your Yamaha screen is good. And then we've got our JL audio system on. You can still turn this on without that amplifier on. So if your sound system isn't playing any music, it's just because your amplifier switch isn't on down below. That was the mistake I made when I saw you guys on the boat. So keep that in mind. Right here is going to be your trim tabs, so you can put them down, or you can do them independently of each other if you want to keep the boat level while you're underway. I'm getting a little sidetracked, but all these switches over here, they're pretty easy to understand. They're all just toggle switches for various different uses on the boats. So when you get it, you're not going to hurt anything by hitting all these buttons. So just toggle and play with them. They're all labeled, so pretty self-explanatory there. The only thing I would recommend is this power steering button. Just have it in the on position, and then your deploy/retrieve. I prefer to use the remote on the bow of the boat so I can see where the anchor is at when I'm bringing it up. But there is a switch on the dash there too. So, and then fresh water, that is for water that's in your holding tank, and then washdown is for raw water that will come from the lake. But everything else, lighting, is all pretty understandable. This underwater light switch right here, this boat doesn't have underwater lights. They just want to make the dash look full. So this underwater light switch and this accessory switch actually don't do anything. If you wanted to get underwater lights, you could wire it to this underwater light switch. And if you wanted to add an accessory like a radar or something, you could wire it to that switch. So that's why those are there. Anyway, back to the starting procedure. We've got our key on. This is in here, so we're all good to go. Our motors are trimmed down, so go ahead and start port engine. You just hit it once. You can hear the engine fire up. Starboard, hit it once, and she's fired up. And then you can always go back here if you want. Make sure both engines are dripping water out of the side of them. So that just means that they're cooling properly. You can hear it if you kind of get used to the noise. So, and then you've got USB ports right there, 12-volt plug. And as far as this Garmin goes, these are really complex. I can make like a 45-minute video on these probably, and somebody else could do it in 10 or 15 because I'm just not as efficient with them. But anyway, I would take a peek on YouTube and check out what all this different stuff does. It'll take a little bit to get used to these. screens or this screen, but it will be easier, I promise. So yeah, I typically run just on the navigation chart, and then you've got your speed, your depth, time of day, all that stuff. So that's primarily what I use. But pull up some YouTube videos. It's just GPS map XSV, and it should give you a lot of information. And then also the same for the Yamaha screen. Those things do so much that the manufacturers and people that are more knowledgeable about me probably have a better video out there. So yeah, I think that's it. Once you got your engines fired up, you're good to go. Excited for you guys to get the boat. Have a good night.